Hello, everyone. Welcome to another DCU Daily, the final episode of the week. I'm back. I am back, and I'm here to talk about all the MCU things, as it is also MCU Weekly, but in addition to the DC things. And if in case you don't know me, I'm not Elizabeth Marvel. I am John. She was, she got the first tail. There we go. Now it's all organized. John, nice to meet you, but welcome to the show. We are here to talk about all kinds of things. Of course, as you could probably read in the thumbnail, we're going to be talking about Deadpool stuff, of course. Is he coming back? Is he not? Well, we will have to see, and we will be talking about it. We're also going to be talking about my review of the first two episodes of Alien Earth. Finally got around to seeing those, as well as Jeff Snyder being just a wonderful human being, I say sarcastically. And then, of course, quick hits and DC news, comic book news, some Supergirl news, a lot of Peacemaker stuff, as that is coming out in the coming weeks. But before I filibuster too long, let's get right into the show by being nice, fully Knuff.
It doesn't seem to matter what I do. I'm always the number two.
Mister, I need to paint my abs on to get nominated. You don't see Robert Downey doing that.
You're kidding. You're kidding. I can't open the envelope without the...
Warner Brothers is heading back into the Matrix with a new movie in the works.
Wonder what other surprises are in store.
I want to be Bruce Wayne.
I like that. You're gonna love me.
There's the shot right there. That.
Okay, we don't need to see
right there.
You look ridiculous.
Well, not no more, he don't.
What, dude? I can barely understand you. Your accent's insane.
What the
Give me a hand up. Nope, I'm actually okay. Thank you very much. Oh, wow. Wow.
Perfect. But welcome back, everybody. Again, John, nice to see all of you. But I'm not going to be alone for the entire time. Dan will be coming in later. He's just, dealing with technical problems right now. So you're starting with me. Obviously, the first thing that we have to start with is box office. Also, before I do that, I would like to welcome in Eugene Johnson, Steven Ortega, enterprising, right, dude? Cool Easy going from elite to cool, or are you somebody else? But before we, again, filibuster, but nice to see all of you. What's up? Hello. Yeah, a little bit of a vacation, just a couple days. Dan's gonna be coming in soon. Also, good evening, Movie Spud. But let's get into the show. Obviously, the first thing we start up with is, of course, the wonderful Nobody 2 picking up apparently $1.3 million in Thursday previews. So very lovely to see, because I saw the movie yesterday. So, I think I do indeed think that I think that's an okay preview, considering all the stuff that's been going around for this movie. I think it's quite good, and I really liked the movie. Obviously, I won't be talking about it majorly. We're going to be getting into that probably next week. But or unless Liz already talked about it, but I don't know. Again, it's been a while. So, but I think this was a good haul. I think this was a good, that 1.3. But I do believe that is good. Sorry, I just a little distracted, but that's okay. That's okay. But we are then going to be getting into other box office stuff. In regards to Weapons is still absolutely killing it. So while nobody did get 1.3 million for Thursday previews, Apparently, Weapons just running in, T-posing with that $22 million on the second weekend, obviously going down from the 48 million, more than half, but considering it's for a horror movie, it's still relatively good. I think I'm really glad that Weapons is getting a ton of love and it seems to be like getting a profit. As we all know that what is it? What did my friend say? Horror is recession proof, I believe so. So I think it's really great to see that. I think Weapons is a phenomenal movie. It's in my top 5 of the year. And I do think that Nobody 2, I don't expect that to get a ton. Now, in comparison to its budget, 9 million versus what is the budget? Of course, it doesn't give me an immediate link because why would it do that? But the budget was about 25 million, so it'll probably over the course of a month probably get to its probably get a little bit of profit, but considering that it is a 4-year late sequel to the first one, I can see why that it's not getting a ton, but 9.25 million is still pretty good. And then of course, Weapons is at a 50% decline. And then it looks like it might be hitting 86 million on Sunday. And then Freakier Friday is still doing relatively well. And Fantastic Four First Steps still, trying to get at least some kind of a profit, but it seems like it'll get a little bit under 300 millions. But that is for the box office in regards to that. And curious, it is very much a good drop for horror for sure. And it's still like as I said, Nobody 2 is still getting like a good good amount of stuff. So I think I think that's definitely a good drop. Movie Spot saying I may see Nobody 2 tomorrow. Yeah, Weapons is doing amazing. Weapons was a movie for sure. It's not for everybody. Like most horror movies, it's got to have like a perfect, succinct, like well-made movie and scares you. And since most movies don't scare me, I got to see like how well made it is, and it is very much a well-made movie. Also, hello M8, got M2G and M8, all the M's and the numbers and the such. So it is very great to see. Now we will be, kind of okay. So it's not a movie, but I mean, it's like 2 episodes kind of makes it a movie. So let's briefly start talking about Alien Earth. I think there's music for this, but I don't know what Dan uses for the fucking. I think it does. But so I will be talking about Alien Earth and its first 2 episodes. Now, I did lie a little bit. I haven't seen the last 5 minutes unless we had to. It was either that or this gets delayed another like 10 minutes, and I know you guys are fucking antsy, so it was either that or that. So like, I was like, all right, I gotta sacrifice the last like 5 to 10 minutes. But for the most part, I've seen both episodes, and for a show that was very highly like up there for me in terms of expectations, I would say they're for the most part met. I mean, it's only 2 episodes, so I do think that this is a very good show for a start. I think where it shines for me is the care of keeping it in the realm that Ridley Scott made in the original Alien, because that's the closest thing that we have to that this time, which is like a couple years before. I don't know how many years. I think it's like 2 or 3 years before Alien. So, and obviously it takes place on Earth, and I love how the setting, how it does have that 70s blue collar retro vibe to it of like the future and how they stick to that. I really liked that. I think the overall story's okay. It's for the most part set up. Like, we do get a little bit of mystery. I mean, we do see the alien. Spoiler alert, we do see the alien in the first 2 episodes. I would say the second episode's a little bit better than the first because we get a little bit more story rather than setup with everything. I think that I do think that the actors, in terms of the synths, the synthetics, the cyborgs, I know that there's like a specific, I think it's synths, because they give you like an opening where it's like there's synths, there's cyborgs, and then there's something else. I forget what it was, but there are these 3 types of things, and the main character is a character named Wendy. Now, she is the kind of weird sort of pseudo leader of these group of synths who are all children who get their minds transplanted into adult bodies for experimental purposes by this like trillionaire. I think the main girl, you don't really notice this with the other characters because they're not on screen as much, but you notice with her, she does a very good job of like clearly having the mind of a child, but also at the same time, like being in a body that doesn't process emotions the same way. So you do have that like sort of brutal honesty that kids could have, but like in the way that it's with her, it's like clearly she doesn't like feel the same things anymore. So I really appreciated that. I thought that was very well done. And I think from what we see of the other kids, also very good. Timothy Olyphant, always fucking amazing. I don't know who plays the trillionaire guy. I think Boy Cavalier or something his name is. Who's essentially Timothy Chalamet from Temu. But I think he does a good job as sort of like the egotistical guy with way too much money and doing way too much. I think he does that very well. But I think the story, for the most part, is pretty good. The effects and the setting and the practicality of it all, very, very, very good. I think with the setup of like who these characters are, who are we going to follow, very good. We get a little bit of her backstory, Wendy, the main character, and all this. I don't really know any of the other actors outside of Timothy Olyphant. You know, I think they're all doing good. Like, I just don't know them personally. I just know Timothy Olyphant. So, in terms of that, I think it's all very good. And I don't think it's like amazing or, oh my god, the greatest thing ever. But like, considering that, you know, the Alien franchise has not been in a great place, unlike Predator, which, you know, has had 2 phenomenal movies, while Alien has, like, the only thing they've had is, like, recently that's kind of halfway decent is, like, a nostalgia bait kind of thing. So I really like how it's not just the alien, but it's, like, it seems like multiple aliens, as Kyle Kaiswetter just said. Also, hello, Patrick. Very nice to see you. So I do think that that Alien Earth is going to give us something truly great. I think we're going to get something like Noah Hawley is going to give us something really special with this. Because I know his previous efforts have been phenomenal. I know for a fact with Legion. But, you know, we are also... I've also heard great things about Fargo. So, you know, I do... I would recommend this. It's been getting, you know, good reviews on Rotten Tomatoes. Better critic score than audience score, but considering that that the critics have gotten the first 6 episodes, we only have 2 episodes to go off of with the audience. So obviously it's not going to be it's not quite as high. And it's harder to discern because there's no like popcorn meter where they're like, oh, you definitely went to go see the movie because of like tracking ticket sales. But it seems like very, very positive. But yeah, I think that this is going to be a phenomenal show. And what we're getting with those first 2 episodes, obviously I'm not going to reveal a ton about the story because I want you guys to watch it, but I think we're going to get something special with this, and it's definitely really, really great. But let me know what you guys think. Movie Spot already did. He said, yeah, Alien Earth was good, and yes, the second episode was better. But yeah, obviously let me know what you guys think on that aspect. Obviously we will continue on. So I will move on to the next thing. Obviously we're gonna continue with the news. So let me just change the banner real quick. There we go. Ha ha ha. Now back to the news. I don't know where Dan is. But we're moving on to the next thing, which is a little bit of DC talk. We're going to be talking DC news. So James Gunn recently posted that we move on to our next thing, but just a simple ad of, yes, it is official. Superman is on digital, and you can buy it for, I think it's $30 and rent it for like $23, which is pretty much what the usual suspects are in regards to a movie that's still in theaters and that you can rent and buy for the time being. So you can get it on like all the usual kind of sites. I know Fandango at Home, and I think it's on Apple because we're going to be getting into that a little bit later. But yes, it is now officially on. It is now officially on all the wonderful sites that you can go see. Or you can just go see it for half the price in the theater. So because that's what I'm going to hopefully be doing at some point. Hopefully in the next week, because I don't know what you mean by that. I think you're quoting something, but I don't know what you're quoting. Anyway, but we do have, of course, we do have this little bit right here that we are going to get into next. Just a cute little, hang on. Yes, here we go. Just a cute little thing right here. I'm not going to leave it on here for too long because this is, private. But yeah, we did get the opening title sequence for Superman. Very cool, very nice to see. Such a great opening. I felt like, zooming in on the logo, doing the barrel roll, all that stuff. So yeah, I think definitely very lovely to see. But moving on to the next thing, obviously, as I was saying before, Superman has officially landed on Fandango at Home. But we are going to be getting into that later, Eugene. I know it says that in the title, but we are going to be talking about that much later. We're not going to be talking about it right now. But yes, you guys can catch Superman on digital, Fandango at Home, the famous opening. But that is not the only thing that James Gunn has said in terms of the he posted this. This is essentially what I was teasing before, not just the behind the scenes stuff, but like specifically, him wanting to do the big speech. No, you're okay. We're just gonna be talking about it because it's just like an Easter egg. It's nothing crazy, so it's probably not even true because James Gunn essentially confirmed that it's gonna remain like that, and I can't see them retconning that. So I can't imagine that Nicholas Hoult would say no, and I can't imagine that James Gunn would recast him in any way, shape, or form, unless Nicholas Hoult kind kind of dark, but like if he like passes away, I don't think that's going to be the case, but we'll see. But I can't imagine he would recast that role. But James Gunn was essentially posting about the on-set debate with David Cornsweet over the big speech at the end, and I think he had allowed him to improv or just essentially really going in with the character. But I think it's very. I think again, as I was saying before, it shows that passion of this guy and what he sees in this actor, what he sees in this character, and what he wants to do. And he was saying he was happy he was filmed. He was happy that that the people get to see that process behind such a great moment. And I agree, it's a good passionate moment being with creatives trying to nail what they're looking for. Exactly. Like when you get someone who's I wouldn't say a perfectionist, because some perfectionists are not great, like Stanley Kubrick, for instance, essentially, abusing his actors. But if we're talking about some build them up in the right way to make the scene work that he wanted to make work, then awesome, great. And he was saying how it was one of his favorite moments, how he was so glad it was filmed. So yeah, I agree, Eugene. Lock in those salaries. They're all coming back. But yeah, definitely a ultimate saga. But yeah, I remember you mentioning that the other day, Kyle, that you met Michaela Hoover. I saw that comment. It was one of the comments I considered picking, because I was like, should I do? I think I picked one of your comments for the Q&A at the end of today. So also, that's not going to be the only thing, but yes, we did get a Kyle Sweater comment. But yeah, I think this is awesome to see. Really awesome to see. But in terms of streaming, Superman has reached number 1 on Apple TV's top movies chart. So even at home, Superman is winning, even though all the people will say he's not. He's winning, and this is fantastic. This is great. I still don't know where Dan is. He should be coming on, but honestly, I might go through this real quick. That might not be the case, but but yes, we will. Obviously, we will be talking about Superman on streaming more and more. All the breakings and records and all that stuff. But in terms of the DC side of things, for the news, we're going to be done with that, because the next thing we have is MCU Weekly. Yes, it is very awesome, Movie Spot. It is very awesome. So we're going to be getting into MCU Weekly. So I think that hang on a sec. Yes, very awesome to see. And I got rid of the wrong thing, so let me just. Anyway, but now going into MCU Weekly, that apparently the X-Men, and again, this is all rumor mill, because this is coming from our favorite Snyder, and it's not Zach. But the X-Men reboot casting is reportedly underway, and X-Men 97 showrunner says Kevin Feige resented the animated series. Now, considering that the person who's saying this is Bo DeMeo, and he's a very controversial figure right now. So, we've heard many rumors, but the first thing we'll be talking about, that allegedly things are really going ahead with the X-Men reboot. Michael Leslie is working on the script, and that, again, alleged, that another writer is going to join him at some point, because, Marvel can't have just one writer. They have to have 16 writers on every project to make this stuff work. But it is confirmed that Jake Schreier of Thunderbolts fame is confirmed as the director. Now, there have been many reports on where the project is, but Jeff Snyder, fuck Jeff Snyder, he seemed very confident, like he always is, that the casting is already underway, and there's been so many rumors in regards to this. Harris Dickinson, Margaret Qualley, Julia Butters, Hunter Schafer, Ayo Edebiri, Javier Bardem. So, it's who knows if that's true. It's probably not because it's Jeff Snyder. But apparently, Kevin Feige has made it very clear that he is a huge X-Men fan and can't wait to introduce a new take on the mutant heroes to the MCU. But he may not have been quite so keen on the X-Men 97, the thing that received universal acclaim. But apparently, former showrunner Bo DeMeo has shared a lot of stuff in regards to the development of the series. He says that he has no faith in the new live action reboot because Feige resented the success of X-Men 97 because fans and audiences were using it as a referendum on what the MCU needs to be doing to fix itself. And so, Mr. DeMeo was, Bo DeMeo was terminated because of, there was allegedly some abuse on set and both verbal and sexual abuse on set, and so he was eventually terminated. So for season 2, some of his ideas are still going to carry forward, but it's going to be helmed by a new showrunner. I'm not in an angry mood. Honestly, I am way too fucking tired to actually be ranting right now. But hello, Anthony. You really think Kevin would be that petty? He's way too professional for that. He's not. Obviously, we'll see. I mean, I did also hear that Kevin Feige was also very upset that like Deadpool and Wolverine was as successful as it was because he didn't want it to be. But who knows if any of this is correct because it's Jeff Snyder. The dude eats pieces of shit for breakfast. So, it's a whole thing. But this is not it from our best boy, Jeff Snyder. But we have another rumor that apparently Marvel knows who they want to play the new T'Challa. And could it be Alien Romulus star David Johnson? Apparently, that the rumor was that Kevin Feige and company were going to introduce a variant of the character, so that you're technically trying to eat your cake, buy your cake and eat it too. Make it whatever the fucking thing is. But Chadwick Boseman obviously left a thanks, Enterprising. I appreciate that. It's kind of like it's tough because it's like Chadwick Boseman was iconic in the role, even though he didn't play it for very long, and this was like the first proper live action iteration of the character. So, that apparently they, instead of just recasting the character, they had Shuri take the reins. And now it seems like they're going to be introducing a variant. We've seen a lot of ifs, ands, and buts in regards to this because of, because there are some people that are like, oh, should it be? Because you're technically replacing him anyway, even though you said you weren't going to do that. So who knows? But then there's the idea, you also have Toussaint, aka Prince T'Challa, is going to be the next Black Panther after Shuri, and they're casting him now. I don't know how the fuck that's going to work, but apparently Jeff Snyder was saying that Marvel knows who they want to play the new Black Panther, and that he believes it might be Alien Romulus star David Johnson. Now, again, it's Jeff fucking Snyder. Who fucking knows if this? It's just but I don't know. I really don't know. Now I'm sure the guy is a great actor. He's going to be appearing in the upcoming Long Walk, as Peter Vries, along with playing Ray Garrity. Oh, what's his name? He was in Licorice Pizza. what was his name? Cooper Hoffman. Cooper Hoffman. He's been in Saturday Night. He was in that. He's gonna be in The Long Walk. So who knows if this is true or not? I mean, I have not, from what little bits I've seen of him in the trailers for The Long Walk, he seems like a good actor. But in terms of, what all of this is saying, who the fuck knows? Again, it's Jeff Snyder. The man is, you can't even say a broken clock is right twice a day, because even that's too much for this fuckwad. So, who knows? Who knows? Like, I would like to see another person take up the role of T'Challa, not like his son T'Challa. I'm saying like actual T'Challa, because I don't think Chadwick Boseman would have liked to see this character that he grew to love to die with him, Yes, Damon Idris is another name that's been rumored. I think it was mentioned here. Yes, including Snowfall Breakout Damon Idris. So, it's big shoes to fill, yes, but it is complicated. But at the same time, it's a whole can of worms. Also, hello, Brogu. Lovely to see you. Now it's complete. I'm sure there are. I mean, there have been many other. I mean, the whole basis of Black Panther as a character is that it's a lineage. It like goes from one person to the next. So it's not totally out there for somebody else to take that role. I'm pretty sure Shuri did in the comics anyway, but it's just like the fact that they had to do that because Chadwick Boseman died. I don't know. It feels like a little weird because it's like, I don't think he would have wanted the character to die with him. And I think now that they see, it's been enough time that we can finally, properly recast, but in a having your cake and eating it too moment where it's like, it's not the Chadwick Boseman version we're recasting. No, it's a multiversal variant, and I'm sure that's going to be folded into the reset, and we're going to be getting a new T'Challa, but like they're making it like work on their terms so that they're being respectful, but at the same time understanding that there have been many iterations of many characters, and they want to obviously keep that going for as long as they can. Need actual T'Challa. I agree with not recasting, then use the multiverse to fix it. Now, yeah, I can kind of see that. John, do you think if they bring John David Washington in, it will scream of nepotism? Because it's fun? No, I mean, it's always going to scream of nepotism because Denzel Washington is an amazing actor, and he has a son that's following in his footsteps, specifically in terms of acting. So no matter what, it's going to scream nepotism. So, yeah, so it's a whole can of worms, and I don't know if this is true, obviously, because it is in my blood to hate Jeff Snyder. It's in my DNA now. So I don't think this is true, but it wouldn't shock me that like they're starting to make moves on bringing in a new Black Panther. But yeah. Well, we're gonna be getting into that soon enough. And then Aldous Hodge, that played Hawkman. I think I do agree with. There's so many great actors who could play that role. Ryan Gosling, of course. But he is. That's the thing. It's just like sometimes it's really hard. It's like, it's nepotism, but like at the same time, like guys like Jack Quaid and John David Washington, they're just so fucking good that it's just like they could have made it even without the influence of their famous parents. So he does. He definitely holds his own. He is a terrific actor. Honestly, recently, I think I hate Jeff Snyder more because Grace Randolph, I feel like she is the epitome of broken clock is right twice a day. She has been right a couple times, even though she has a lot of stupid and weird takes. Jeff Snyder just makes my blood boil. Like his existence pisses me off. So, that's just a whole nother thing. Anyway, but apparently another rumor, the last rumor that your boy, there is a lot of on-set strife between producers and directors and actors in regards to this in regards to Avengers Doomsday. So apparently that Jeff Snyder also said that filming has been underway. As we know, Rebecca will remain confirmed, even though this, despite the fact they don't have a finished script, that they have been filming, and we've seen the set photos of James Marsden and Benedict Wong and the X Mansion and the debris and whatnot. So Jeff Snyder was saying that, and apparently, according to Jeff Snyder, that Robert Downey Jr. is leading the charge to get Disney to plan 3 weeks of reshoots. He's the reason why they might be reshooting some of the movie. That the original plan was to use a stand-in for a lot of Downey scenes until the actor decided that it simply wasn't working out. They had a body double and a face double, and Robert would stand outside the scene reading the lines. And apparently, after 2 or 3 weeks, he said, "This isn't working. I want to shoot the whole thing with me in the suit." Snyder has also said that a lot of testosterone and a lot of ego has resulted in some dysfunction on the Doomsday set. The dysfunction I've heard about on set is second only to that of the Fast and Furious movies regarding the infamous feud between The Rock and Vin Diesel. I mean, we mentioned a behind-the-scenes incident earlier this year that I didn't want to go into detail about because you probably didn't have the source because you're a lying sack of shit. And someone probably made it sound more dramatic than it actually was. But yeah, I think, again, there's a lot of testosterone and a lot of ego on that set. A lot of people who think they know the best. In the end, only one person's path matters, and that's actually Robert Downey Jr.'s path. I agree, because they're pretty much building this reboot all around him because they're desperate because they need Robert Downey Jr. Yeah, a little bit. Also, are you Elite Eazy-E or are you somebody else? I don't know. I mean, that makes sense. The man just won an Oscar. The man is like the wealthiest actor in the world. So, yeah, that doesn't surprise me. So now, all right, Eugene, fucking keep it in your pants, man. Okay. So why did you change your profile pic and your username? So, curious about that. I mean, not a bad thing, but just curious. But yeah, this is probably the closest one I actually believe. I know. I'm not saying Jeff Snyder's right. I would just say I believe this a little bit more because I can see fucking Marvel doing this. How they have like a body double and a face double, and then like Robert Downey Jr. only reading the lines off screen, and then like having him, be in a voice booth, and then finally him being like, "Nope, we're not doing this. I want to be in the suit. I want this to work." Which, with what the Russo brothers have said, that he's very into the role, that he's been researching. I mean, he is getting almost $100 million for this, so you better fucking believe that he's going to be researching. So, so I don't know. It's just, I'd be willing to believe this because this sounds like bullshittery that Marvel would do. They're like, "Oh, we're gonna have Robert Downey Jr., but only using his voice while using a body and a face double," because that sounds like a stupidly dumb Marvel thing to do. Now, I'm not saying it's right. I'm just saying, again, I'm willing to believe it. So next thing we have is the news that everybody wants to be talking about, that Ryan Reynolds will officially return as Deadpool for Avengers Doomsday, but not part of the Avengers. I mean, even I could gather that if this is true. Apparently Hollywood Reporter has reported that Reynolds will reprise his role as the Merc with a Mouth for Marvel Studios' highly anticipated event film. As we all know, that not Robert Downey Jr., Ryan Reynolds posted the anarchy symbol on the Avengers logo a week ago. But it's obvious he won't actually be suiting up with the Avengers. So he's not going to be. So sources tell Heat Vision that yes, Deadpool will appear in Avengers Doomsday, but he's not going to be suiting up with the Avengers, which I believe that because he is from a different universe. So that kind of makes sense. But yeah, so we're going to be getting a whole bunch of stuff, and maybe Hugh Jackman returning, probably not. But yeah, it seems like all but confirmed that Wade Wilson is coming back, which makes sense. Ryan Reynolds did get them $1.5 billion with Deadpool and Wolverine, even though he was not the reason why. They think, oh, he was in this, he'll bring in another billion for us, right? Yeah, I hope so too. I mean, Julian McMahon was wasted in those movies, even though he was a great actor. So, yeah, fingers crossed. But yeah, seems like the case that the Merc with the Mouth is coming back. But that is not all. This, I think this was the source that brought us in regards to this. I think it's somewhere in here. Hold on. Yeah. Okay. Early on Tuesday morning, Ryan Reynolds ignited speculation. This is the source, the official source that was like saying all of this. So yeah, it seems like the case that Deadpool is going to be in Avengers Doomsday, not just because of the anarchy symbol, but because of what the Hollywood Reporter has been now saying, that it is in fact possibly true that, Ryan Reynolds is coming back. I hope the reports that Doom could continue through Mutant Saga is accurate. Shouldn't be just 2 movies. I can see it. They just have Robert Downey Jr. for 2 movies, and then they bring in somebody else for Doctor Doom. Since again, they're resetting the universe, so I could see him like Doctor Doom coming in for a future Fantastic Four movie, but it's not Robert Downey Jr. Now, would that be stupid? Yes, but it is Marvel, and they're not exactly the kings of great decisions right now either. So, obviously, we'll see if this is all true or not. It would be cool for Deadpool to come in during Avengers Doomsday, and it makes sense from a money-making / business perspective. So, exactly, Doom is forever. He will get his vengeance with on Reed Richards. But that is it for the MCU weekly side of things. Now, guys, gotta get into one of the best times, the quickest of times. We got to get into the quick hits. And with that, we got to get that Bossa Nova elevator music. And on top of that, we got to get Dan in here because Dan showed up. Hey, Dan. How you doing?
I'm good. I was just going to say, yeah, I mean, hey, the Deadpool, it looks like according to the Hollywood Reporter, Deadpool is coming back in Avengers Doomsday. Ryan Reynolds is, confirmed according to their source, and then Deadline a few hours after that saying, "Oh no, our sources tell us that it's not quite there yet." So, yeah, I'm kind of curious to see what ends up being the case, because the other day I was watching.
He did post that Instagram post, so
he put with no captions, and then like the day after he did that, I think John Campea, who's got a pretty good source within Ryan Reynolds' camp, on his show on YouTube, they talked about how, well, he wasn't referring to Avengers Doomsday. I mean, obviously, we have seen that image in Deadpool and Wolverine.
Yeah, Enterprising just mentioned this.
So, yeah, but it's, hey, look, Hollywood Reporter seems to think, according to their source, it's happening. Deadline seems to think it's not, at least not yet. So, I wonder what this actually ends up being. Like, if this is just negotiating in front of the
it might be Secret Wars. It might not be Doomsday.
It could very well be, because they are shooting it back to back. So. Anyway, John, I think we have.
All right, Tony, calm down, Jesus. But first things first, in regards to quick hits, that apparently Stranger Things creators Matt and Ross Duffer, aka the Duffer Brothers, are negotiating a Netflix exit for massive Paramount overall deal, because now Paramount, they got that Skydance money. They can be hawking that shit. They gave Trey Parker and Matt Stone almost $2 billion, so it's like, here you go. Have all the money, just immediately spending everything. What are your thoughts on this, Dan?
I mean, look, they're throwing their weight around. Just yesterday on the show, we were talking about the idea that they were looking for a way to get out of their Netflix deal. I still don't think we have any numbers for like what they are potentially leaving on the table and what they might be getting from Paramount. But what we do have is pretty much at this point, I mean, now it's coming out from multiple outlets, confirmation that no, they're not just trying to figure out a way to get out of the Netflix deal. They pretty much are trying to figure out like how they're gonna, get cut loose, and they're negotiating an exit. So, yeah, I mean, Paramount, good for them. They're throwing that Ellison money around, that Oracle money that they got now. So the Skydance money, otherwise known as.
Yes.
Yeah.
But next up, we have a trailer that apparently called Rabbit
Not
Trap.
sure about Wolverine, by the way.
Yeah. Apparently, the Rabbit Trap with Dev Patel and Rosie McEwen. They disturb a fairy circle in a 70s set Welsh folk horror film. So obviously, as the horror guy, got my Evil Dead poster in the back. This sounds pretty cool. I do love Dev Patel. Dev Patel's a fantastic actor, and we did get, as the opening of the article says, we did get that with Doctor Who in 73 Yards last year. So fairy circles, might be on the way in terms of folk horror, because not everything can be the Wicker Man. So it's interesting that we're getting some different sort of things in regards to folk horror. What are your thoughts as a guy who doesn't like horror as much as me?
So I did see this trailer, and I can tell you it's not the kind of movie that you would want to be watching at night. I guess if you go to a movie theater, that's one thing, but I will not be checking this movie out in a movie theater. I also will not be watching it anytime past sunset. It's atmospheric. It fits it's like a period piece, right? Like 70s set. So they got all the production design elements right. There's some jump scare moments, but ultimately, I mean, Dave Patel, Rosie McEwen, especially Dave Patel, I've seen him in so many things. I can't wait to see what they come up with here ultimately for the entire movie. While I'm not the target audience because I don't do a lot of horror movies, it genuinely has gotten my interest up. So maybe I'll see if I can find it somewhere streaming down the road. Happy Friday to you, Steven.
All right. So ESPN, hungry for more WWE content, expresses interest in additional rights. This is for you because I have no idea what this is.
By the way, Matthew Rice, a movie spot, he's got a show coming up with the other actress who was in that Star. What am I thinking of? Let me see if I can quickly find it. Matthew Rice and Claire Danes have a new show called The Beast in Me, which is going to be I forget which streaming service, but that's a show that's coming up. So if you want Matthew Rice, he's got a show coming up. Claire Danes, wasn't she in Homeland? Yeah, she was in Homeland. Anyway, sidetrack. ESPN, yes. So it looks like Jimmy Pitaro, like who's the leader, the head of ESPN, as it were. I forgot his official title. He was recently asked. There's a quote in this article where he basically says, "Yeah, we would love to get a hold of all the other WWE library content because." If you guys remember, they just got the rights to like all the big pay-per-views, the PLEs, they call them now, premium live events, which includes WrestleMania, SummerSlam, and such. But then the question was, are they also going to start carrying everything else? Like Peacock has a lot of stuff in addition to just the the PLEs, and it looks like Jimmy Pitaro said, we're always interested in content of that quality. We will have the archival rights for the events that we are airing, which are the PLE starting in 2026. In terms of their library, the WWE library, we certainly would be interested in if and when those rights are available. So that's the key part here. It looks like those rights were certainly not part of the package. And speculation was that, it might just be coming in tow as part of the PLEs, but it looks like it's not. We know that a bunch of programming is also on YouTube now. The WWE has like multiple YouTube channels. Like they have a Vault channel, so you can watch their old stuff there. So yeah, but the WWE network is pretty much dead. And so now if you're going to watch all their stuff, is going to be on Peacock, Netflix, the USA Network, CW, obviously YouTube I mentioned, and I feel like there's like a couple of I mentioned Netflix, so there's a couple other places. But yeah, WWE expanding their portfolio, and ESPN, of course. Remember, ESPN is known as the Entertainment and Sports Programming Network, or rather, that's what the ESPN stands for. So cool. All right, yeah, everybody wants WWE. Oh, the piece of the WWE pie. This was fun, John. I don't know. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, Bill Burr signed a first look TV deal with Fox, which is cool. I would always love to see more Bill Burr. Bill Burr's a legend. So, fuck yeah. More Bill Burr is always.
I was going to say, he's already working on something with Fox. You talked about it a few weeks ago. It's like a sitcom of some kind. So he's already been working on a project, and so this is only an extension of that effort. Like now he's got a first look deal, so he's going to continue to do more of the same. So there you go.
Yeah.
All right, let's keep on going.
Interesting way of putting it, enterprising. Okay.
Okay.
But Linus and the Madison poised for renewals as the new Paramount brass praise Taylor Sheridan, and he opens new Texas campus with 101 Studios. Pretty cool. I mean, Taylor Sheridan just been cranking them out. Like, if we talk, like if James Gunn is the man with no sleep, like Taylor Sheridan is like 12 times that, because this dude really doesn't get sleep.
He's basically a real life cowboy who's, quite frankly, the biggest hit maker Paramount has in their stable. So why wouldn't they give him more green lights?
I see what you did there.
Yeah, Lioness is also a show that's been doing great. I saw both seasons so far; they're amazing, and I can't wait to see the third one. I'm glad that they're gonna get a renewal. They couldn't stop dropping Taylor Sheridan's name at that media event this past week. So I haven't seen the Madison so much, but I'm sure it's also a good show. Lioness, he actually guest stars in Lioness in this second season quite a bit. And that's not the only show. He shows up in a bunch of his other shows too. So, yeah, Lioness is great, Eugene. I agree with you. If you guys are not watching it, go on Paramount Plus and check it out. It's actually, if you like your military action thriller kind of a show, and Zoe Saldana is in there. So, of course, she's doing a TV show, which is a rarity. But, if Zoe Saldana signs up for it, Nicole Kidman, Morgan Freeman. It's also got Michael Kelly in it. So, there's a lot of good actors in that show.
Yeah.
Yeah, and Jill Wagner as well. She used to be in Wipeout.
Apparently, Coven Academy supernatural dramedy gets a Disney series order. The only name I recognize here is Melina Weissman, who played young Supergirl in the pilot of
Actually, is
the
that
show.
Tiffany Tyson on the left, the top left? That is.
I don't know who that is.
Tyson. She was in 90210, and then she was also in White Collar with Matt Bomer. So I recognize her immediately. That's the only person I recognize here. Everybody else, I have no idea who they are. But hey,
no clue. But I know Melina Weissman because she was also in that god awful movie 9 Lives. Remember that with Kevin Spacey? That was like one of the worst movies like ever made or whatever.
Yikes. Okay. Nope. I do not want to remind myself of that.
Anyway, but Sean
Hatosy
set to direct on The Pit for season 2. Thoughts?
I remember first seeing him in Animal Kingdom on TNT, and I've heard nothing but good things about his role in The Pit. So I'm not surprised that. I mean, he's been doing work on television for so long that I'm not surprised he wants to be. I'm not surprised he wants to direct. I mean, a lot of actors, transition to directing. You start with TV and then you see where you want to go next. But yeah, I mean, Sean Hatosy, good for him. Can't wait to see what they do in season 2. Probably gonna have a few Emmys by then. He's nominated, I'm pretty sure. So,
but apparently, first look revealed of Sean Bean and Connie Nielsen in a series for a fucking streaming service nobody has. But
MGM Plus. Look, I have it. It used to be called. I've had it long enough before the Amazon days. It used to be. Called
the only reason I knew Epix is because that's where Pennyworth was.
Yeah.
For I think its first 1 or 2 seasons. But yeah, we're getting another Robin Hood adaptation. Which I mean, Sean Bean as the Sheriff of Nottingham. That's just fucking great casting right there,
dude.
So like.
And Connie Nielsen, of course, Wonder Woman.
I mean, Connie Nielsen, fucking queen of the Amazons herself, and was recently in Nobody too. So I'm just gonna say this: Connie Nielsen, she could still fucking get it, like 100%, like not even close.
Here's the thing: you saw her in Gladiator 2, right? I was like, okay, yes. Pedro,
I'm honestly like, everyone's like, ooh, Gal Gadot. I'm like, nah, I'm looking at Connie Nielsen. What the fuck are you talking about?
Well, I mean, I wouldn't go that far, but I'm just saying. I mean, hey.
Oh, Connie Nielsen is at least a good actress. Ooh.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, why did you have to bring acting into this? It's not like we're talking about the movies or TV shows or anything like that. Anyway, I will say yes. Connie Nielsen, Sean Bean. Here's the thing about MGM Plus. they're trying to now, because Amazon could have easily shut down FX or merged it in with Amazon Prime Video. I think now they're positioning MGM Plus as their like prestige streaming service brand, so you can still subscribe to it separately. And I can't wait to see Sean Bean get killed by the end of the first episode or first season, because that's usually how things go for Sean Bean characters.
No, I mean, it's probably going to be the end of the show, because that's, you know, Sheriff of Nottingham is the big Robin Hood villain, so he's going to die. Like, we know he's going to die.
I mean, you
that's
don't
just
catch
Robin.
Sean Bean.
I'm not saying that's a Sean Bean thing, which it obviously is, but it's just a Robin Hood thing, because Sheriff of Nottingham eventually dies. So, you know.
No, fair enough. No, I hear you. I hear you. It looks good. The photos look good. Obviously that's the big one, but you know, we won't spend too much time on it until the show actually comes out. I'll see if it's good. I still have to catch up on From, which is another show on that service. But yeah, John, PBS not in the best of shape right now.
No, they have to apparently cut the budget by only. To be fair, I thought it would be more, but they do have to cut the budget by 21% following public media's loss of federal funding. Very sad to see, but we have very stupid people in charge, so apparently we have to deal with this now. It
goes to show you, though, that there's a lot of private foundations, like, you know, just whether it's obviously other billionaires who are trying to, you know, give some money back, or you know, just people like us, like everyday citizens, just adding $5-10 a month here and there, that drives what PBS does, and that allows it to stay alive. Because obviously, if it was just the federal funding, they would be long dead, because that went away a few weeks ago. So yeah, on the bright side, PBS still, like you said, that's not as big of a number as we would have expected. So yeah. Sesame Street always will have great value.
Yes.
Hello, Frankie.
But next up, apparently, for the long-awaited Scary Movie 6, Regina Hall and Anna Faris are back for
it's
Scary Movie 6.
Isn't this I thought I read it was a reboot. Like the Wayans brothers are writing it. Anna Faris is back. Regina Hall's back, and of course,
well, it's like it's a reboot, but it's like it's still a continuation of like the original movies.
Oh, I see. So this is more like a requel. Like, is that the term?
Kind of.
Okay, got it. Yeah. Well, hey, you know what? If it's good, then why not? Because if they can get back to the magic of the originals, then I'm fine with that.
You know, then we might be getting more spoofs with you know, the success of Naked Gun, and maybe even the success of this. So we'll see.
Yep.
But speaking of Scary Movie, we go to the original thing it was parodying. Mason Gooding describes Scream 7 as domestic, homely, and unconventional. I feel like that's what you call a woman when you're trying not to like be mean by calling her ugly. Like, oh yeah, she's very homely and unconventional. It's a very weird way to describe a horror movie, but like, sure.
I think he meant it more as in they're kind of going back to like, you know, the roots of the franchise in terms of where they're going to be, where the story takes place. It was, but yeah, definitely a weird way. It's out of context. It sounds off, as most things would. So yeah.
But I do like Mason Gooding. I mean, I like some. I mean, well, everybody here except for his twin. I forget that bitch's name.
Is he Cuba Gooding's? Are they related?
I actually didn't think of that. I don't think so. But hang on, now I'm curious. No, he is the son of fucking Cuba Gooding Jr.
Oh shit!
Fucking nepotism up in this bitch. Goddamn.
Next time, baby. Oh my god, I just saw Cool Eazy-E's photo. That is the best profile.
Is that supposed to be Iron Sheik?
That's the Iron Sheik with the meme.
Okay. Iron Sheik when Hulk Hogan enters the afterlife.
Oh, the jabronis here.
I saw so many Iron Sheik memes when Hulk Hogan died. It was great.
Oh my god.
I didn't fucking realize this. So, fucking Scream 5 had not one but 2 Nepo babies. Tisk, tisk, tisk.
There you go.
Not like I care. I'm just kidding.
Alright, moving on.
But apparently Isla Johnston is in talks to lead Baz Luhrmann's Jean-Diok epic at Warner Brothers.
Wow.
Thoughts?
The name is exotic. Isla Johnston also looks like she would fit right in. I mean, in a Baz Luhrmann movie. I personally Haven't seen her in anything else before. I mean, but Baz Luhrmann has a reputation. Apparently, she was in The Queen's Gambit. There you go. All right. So she was playing the young version of Beth Harmon. Oh, okay. I will have to go back and watch that.
Oh, yeah. Now I kind of can see it.
Okay.
Now I see it.
Well, I guess. Well, she has grown up obviously in the time.
Yeah,
so
grown
that
up.
makes
So
sense.
like,
Yeah.
honestly, with that face, not saying that's a bad thing, just like her overall vibe, I could definitely see it for Joan of Arc. Like, definitely.
Yeah.
That
makes sense. Hey, Warner Brothers, they're making some good decisions. They're in the Baz Luhrmann business, so why not keep it that way? All right. You know what? We gotta put that back up. The Sheik, all these jabronis. I have to roll my R's real hard. Hey, Yash. Back again. Masters of the Universe. Kristen Wiig joins the cast as Roboto. I can't pronounce it. You say it.
I don't know. I didn't fucking
Roboto.
Don't
That's
look
what
at
it
me.
is. There's 3 O's in one. Anyway, I'm surprised. Okay, the only reason this makes sense that in the movie that's pretty much already done shooting for the most part, that she's joining in this late, it only makes sense if they're doing this character completely CG and she's just doing voice work. So they're just gonna bring her into a
or there was like a stand-in, like
yeah,
and then they
probably.
Kind of like apparently what they're doing for Robert Downey Jr. on the set of Doomsday.
I don't believe that
allegedly.
because it comes from
it comes from
mind
Jeff.
of Jeff
However,
Snyder.
I don't believe it because of Jeff Snyder, but at the same time, I can totally see Marvel doing that because they're fucking stupid. So
Hey, Kyle's got the Roboto figure. All right, well, Kristen Wiig is going to be playing Roboto in the new movie, the Travis Knight film. That's coming from Amazon MGM. It's going to be releasing next June. And June 5th, 2026. Cool. All right.
LFG, yeah.
Let's go.
But next up, Dan, his obsession with bulges gave us this next story. But apparently Pete Davidson is calling out the media for obsessing over his pee-pee size. Blame Ariana Grande for that one.
That was dick. Hey, if I was a girl, there would be a march over it, says Pete Davidson, claiming he was objectified for having BDE, which we all know stands for Big Dick Energy. So I actually held on to this till today, John, because I wanted to get your thoughts on this. This could have been on the show with Liz yesterday, but I thought, we would just save it for you. So what do you think?
I mean, I agree with him because, remember how, there was the whole thing with, Milena Vaintraub, everyone was obsessing over her chest because she has a very big chest. So, and everyone was like, oh my God. And then to the point where she got, harassed online and she had to, start, covering herself up more because of harassment. But, it's totally okay to make fun of or, make jokes about Pete Davidson's big dong. It's I get it. Nobody's gonna feel bad for having a big dong, but at the same time, it's I do kind of feel for him a little bit because of course small dicks would get made fun of, but at the same time, it's someone's kind of making jokes about your body. It still doesn't feel great. I know this wasn't supposed to be serious, but I don't like Pete Davidson that much. I don't think he's very funny. I don't think he kind of seems like a dweeb, but I could see what he's coming from this. It's just
because he's being objectified, and anybody would feel bad for being objectified. So,
it's kind of like the Bill Burr defense, where it's if it happens to a woman, it's tragic, but when it happens to a guy, it's just considered funny. So it's just it's a little sad to see. But yeah, Ariana Grande was the one who leaked that, so now everybody made jokes about it. She gets off scot-free for admitting something about personal body issues to the press, but that's fine. And she cheated on, she had her current boyfriend cheat on his previous wife, and she doesn't get flack for that at all by being the other woman, but that's a whole nother thing.
Hey, we're not here to talk about celebrity gossip. I just thought this was a funny quick hit. So, but yeah, no,
anyway, well, I made it not funny, sorry.
Yeah,
but
it's all good.
Just it's okay, Pete Davidson, we're here with you. It's fine. You're okay, buddy. Emma Stone apparently remembers the Amazing Spider-Man films as a really special time in life. Yeah, you fucking were in a Spider-Man movie, 2 Spider-Man movies.
I mean, also, I don't know if what this says about her. Obviously, she was dating Andrew Garfield at the time too, so I don't know if she's just looking back at that fondly as well. But yeah, it was especially, a a time for her when she was a part of one of the biggest franchises in Hollywood. So, I mean, she's been doing a lot more Oscar fare these days, which is great. I mean, she's definitely somebody who is always either nominated or is picking up a trophy or multiple trophies every award season. So she's doing fine for herself, and she's got another what's that why am I forgetting the Disney movie that she did? Cruella. She's got another Cruella movie on the way, right? So she's got plenty going for her.
That's sad. Yeah. Anyway, but then
but maybe she's opining for Andrew Garfield. Maybe that's what this is about. So.
I mean, she's happily married now, so
I don't know. I'm reading between the lines, maybe like Jeff Snyder would do. But anyway, Sorry, John. Before we go there, I just want to address what Steven was saying, which had to do with we haven't talked about the Marty Supreme trailer because, we just have too many other things going on. But yes, the trailer is out. Timothée Chalamet, of course, looks fantastic in it. We will discuss it on Monday, so don't you worry. We will bring that back. But thank you, Steven, for pointing that out. All right, John, take it over.
This fucking thing. I don't know why. I don't. Dude,
I love this. This is why the internet is undefeated, right? Because somebody actually went to the trouble of tracking like balls into this whole routine that Will Ferrell's D'Angelo character, like you can tell like the physics he got mostly right. Like if you look at the ball movement, right? It's
because I was like, why is this special? Now I've never seen this episode of The Office.
It's not in the actual episode. The fun part is he's miming the whole thing. That's the point.
So that's the joke. Is like he doesn't actually have balls.
He doesn't have actually balls. Okay, so right. Well, I'm sure he has balls, but like he doesn't have them in his hands. And this was just funny. I was like, we got to end the quickets on a high note. So why not? But there you go. Those are all the quick hits we got. All right.
Those are all the quick hits. That's why
all the quick hits. Well, let us know, guys, what you thought about all the quick hits. What did you think about all the news? We would love to hear from you, of course. Let us know in the comments down below. We, of course, are not done yet because we are now going to move on to the part of the show that we simply like to call DCU Daily.
It's another project that's been blessed from the beginning.
There's the shot right there. That.
Okay, we don't need to see chorus.
Right there.
Hey, buddy. Eyes up here.
Now you want to get nuts?
Let's get nuts.
Here we go.
Victory mine. Ask me how am I doing? I'm telling you, really, I'm doing sublime. I never wait in a stewardess line. I just go do it. I'm moving my time. Really had nothing to do with it. How am I moving? I'm moving like you want to shine. Follow my lead. Don't listen to lies. I had to put me all on the line. That's why I know that victory's mine.
I prefer Jared Leto. Hunka hunka.
All right, welcome on into it.
Tony, what did we just say? We're not objectifying people. Come on, man.
Well, welcome to another episode of DCU Daily. I even had like a little bit of a Superman thing going here. Look at this. Oh, wow, nice. I didn't even try to make that happen, but I just realized that's going on. So we'll let it keep on going on. Speaking of DCU Daily, of course, we got a lot to get into. John, what are you most excited to talk about today?
I'm excited to talk about Peacemaker. I think I'm a little hesitant, obviously, being not the biggest Peacemaker fan, but considering that we're getting some even better reviews than last time, I'm curious. So let's talk about it.
Yeah, and you know what? After the show, we've got of course, Fancast Friday, and today on Fancast Friday, we will be doing a DCU Justice League director fan casting, which you guys voted for. So do stick around because right after the show ends, we'll take a bit of a break, then we'll come right back and do the fan casting. So yes, plenty of DC stuff to come. All right, John. So the first thing that we've got going on today on DCU Daily, of course,
wonderful.
There's another rumor from our favorite insider, the Insnider, as he goes by, Jeff Snyder.
Yep.
Who, amongst the many things that we've already talked about earlier in the show before we got to DC News, well, he mentioned that Cristin Milioti is seemingly returning as Sofia Falcone or Sofia Gigante in the Batman Part 2. Yeah, she looked great. She did a lot of crazy things and was the breakout hit from the Penguin. what do you think about the idea that she'll be coming? And this is not the first time that we have heard that she might be in the movie, but again, kind of reinforcing the idea that she will be in the Batman 2. What kind of role do you think she has to play, considering that, she might be a pretty big character in the show, but from the perspective of Batman, I don't know if he's going to really know too much about her. Would he? Or I don't know. You tell me.
I mean, the last time we saw her, she was in Arkham Asylum. So, we'll see. But I don't, again, first of all, I don't really believe this because it's Jeff Snyder and fuck Jeff Snyder. But I can't imagine she would have that much of a role because she's only in Arkham Asylum. Like, what the fuck would she be doing? Like, what? Unless there's like
maybe she's hanging
an
out with the
escape
Joker
scene. Like, that's the next, that's the next like villain. They escape Arkham Asylum, and then
we'll you know what we'll get? We'll get Barry Keoghan dropping in with a whole squad of SWAT soldiers with Joker masks on, and he will rescue Sofia Gigante out of. No, actually, that's a different movie. Never mind. I just got my movies confused, but it'll be fun to see if you do see her, and then if you do see her in the movie, then Frankie asking the question, maybe it's related to Catwoman. Maybe we'll get Zoe Kravitz coming back. Maybe she comes to visit her. What would you call her? Stepsister, essentially.
Half sister.
So, yeah, we'll see if that meeting finally happens. Because if it happens, then everybody's like, "Nope, done. They're doing the TV show. They're doing a spinoff. It's happening." So we'll see. But hey, you guys let us know what you think about the idea. Would you like to see Sofia Falcone? Would you like to see Cristin Milioti back in the Batman Part 2? How much of a future does her character have in the Batman Epic Crime Saga? We'd love to hear from you about it. Cristin Milioti did a fantastic job as Sophia in The Penguin, says Brogu. She turned out to be one of the best characters. Yeah, I absolutely agree. She's the half sister of Catwoman. Leslie Thomas. Yeah, hell yeah to all the yes. Cool. All right, you guys are in agreement. All right, perfect. Well, John, you know what also might be perfect is yet another DC Comics and Marvel Comics crossover happening. It seems to be becoming more of a regularity these days because, as you see there, we will be getting a crossover between, of course, Nightwing, and you see on the right X-23 Wolverine. And there you go, John. Are you excited? This is part of that whole Batman Deadpool crossover. More characters from those world, those characters, Batman and Deadpool worlds colliding. Nightwing, of course, representing Batman, and I can imagine X-23 representing the Marvel side. Are you excited for a Wolverine times Nightwing crossover?
It's gonna be very cool. They're doing all the Marvel DC crossover stuff, Deadpool and Batman, as you can see from the top right-hand corner. Then you have, I think, Daredevil and Green Arrow. You have Thor and Wonder Woman. I don't think Superman has one yet. But those are all the ones that they have right now. But yeah, it's very cool. DC and Marvel, they're both public. They both have their own issue.
Yeah. And you know what's funny is you can kind of tell who's publishing what because it's based on the logo. Whichever company's logo is on top, that's the company whose version you're going to be looking at. Remember when they did the announcement for the Marvel one that was like Deadpool times Batman, and for DC it was Batman times Deadpool. It was that whole situation. So that's pretty much how you can tell which version you're getting. So all right. Well, this looks fun. I can't wait to see it. I mean, maybe look, it's probably very unlikely. Probably will never happen in live action, but
yeah. And there's also Children of the Round Table. I don't know if anybody fucking cares about that, but yes. There you go. Very nice. But fuck them. We don't care about that.
All right. Well, no. I'm just saying clearly most people don't even know who they are, so that's why it's something that we will not be talking about in depth, but. John, we will be talking about in a little more depth because we've got a whole year's worth of anticipation for Supergirl. Not look up, but instead look out. And the fan art online is just out of this world. This is some of the best fan art I've seen to date. Clearly there you see Supergirl giving us the finger while Crypto is looking up at her and Superman's like, come on. He's like, come on, dude, with Crypto. And now he's like, come on, Kara, what are you doing? So yeah, and then there's a second image here, John, which I think was even funnier because you see the whole thing all together. like dairy corn. So I was like, oh gosh darn it.
Even James Gunn gave a seal of approval.
He did. He absolutely did. He loves it, and I think it's worth a nice 5-minute stare because there's so much going on here, which speaks exactly to the kind of relationship these characters will probably have. And for all we know, a couple of years down the road, we might be looking back at this as like James Gunn was telling us right to our faces that we're getting a Supergirl Superman crossover as his next movie, which is, still a rumor. We don't know what his next movie is. It apparently has Superman in it, but the question is whether it's Supergirl or not. So there you go, John. I don't know what are your take on this fan art?
It's very cute, very cute.
Yep. Yeah, Kal-El will probably get his gray hair by Kingdom Come taken care of, and cleaning up Supergirl's messes. So, and speaking of messes, John, we actually have, now that Superman is out on digital, people are able to take 4K screenshots of the movie and give us a better look at Kara Zor-El from the movie.
Although I think in these images they got rid of her. I thought you had like mascara running.
No, it's there. It's not as now that it's in 4K, I think it's more like we were used in your mind's eye. You think it was worse than it was, like, but you see there, like, it's clearly her makeup is smudged, while her mascara is smudged.
Gotcha.
Both eyes. What I like about this is we're getting a better, closer look at the suit itself. Right, you're getting a look at the skirt. You're getting a look at the belt. It's obviously she's been through some stuff. Like, it's this suit probably needs to get washed and dried. But the Superman look, the S crest is smaller clearly, but it's got the collar. I'm sure the cape is hidden behind, within the jacket.
So it's definitely. It feels like this is like the Kryptonian version, and then with like Superman kind of more of the denouncing the Kryptonian side of things because of, hey, fuck all the people and rule over Earth because. Sure. It seems like he might be getting like more of a like human-made suit in future films. So
yeah, which again, there's no reporting on that, but James Gunn did say.
But I can imagine that. I feel like he would do that.
Yeah. How old is she supposed to be, Tony? I have no idea. Like that. Just
well,
I guess
he did say. Well, in the Woman of Tomorrow comic, the inciting incident is like she goes. This is the first time I think she's done this. Is that she goes to a planet with a red sun to get drunk. So she's, I think, 21. But Superman says she does this a lot, which means she's done it more than once. So I would say she's probably in her early 20s, maybe 21, 22, 23. However, not like drinking age matters in space. In space, no one can hear you drink. So, like, they probably don't even care. So I can imagine they could also age her down, like that she's 18, 19 years old. She's been in spoiled brat vibes. I think so.
Yeah, no, totally. And it looks like she's been to a party or two, maybe even in a couple of bar fights before she showed up to the Fortress of Solitude. As far as I don't think they're gonna make her like a teenager. I mean, she could probably be in her 20s. Does it really matter? I mean, look, we're not gonna see what her driver's license says in the movie, I bet you. So it doesn't really matter. All we can do is go off of just I guess how she plays the character, and we'll find out, I'm sure, in a year's time, or maybe sooner when we get the trailer. So it looks great, though. It looks great. I just wanted to point this out because we are getting a closer look than ever. Like, we were just fishing for photos, and they were all set photos from afar, and we were getting all these blurry images. Now we actually get a really close-up look, and yeah, it could be in her 20s. Dan and John, Costco hot dog, pizza, ice cream, yogurt. Wow, okay. Although Costco, hot dog pizza, like, nothing wrong with that. I'm sure the Costco food is actually pretty good. But it's a bit of it sounds like a step down from some of the fancy dinners you usually have. But hey, it's a Friday night. If you're just chilling and going for something a little more easy, then that's great, Steven. We love that. And ice cream, yogurt ice cream, or I guess what would you call it, frozen yogurt? That's always good. It's healthier than just standard ice cream. So
yeah, but like when you're eating fucking like frozen dairy treats, do you really want to be healthy? Like.
And as far as Brogu's saying, the whole bad girl vibe gets a little old for me. Look, you don't know what this movie is going to be like yet. Let's not like start to speculate, oh, this is going to be terrible because they're going in a certain direction. We haven't even seen a trailer for this yet. So you never know, if this is going to end up being a great movie or not. So we'll just have to wait and see. Second time today, somebody in the chat says Costco pizza. There you go. Yeah, and Tony just eats whatever he likes. Well, hey, we encourage that, although not to the point where you're eating yourself into an early grave. So, with that though, John, let's keep on going here, shall we? We got to talk about Peacemaker, of course. With Peacemaker, now the season 2 is on the way. They just did the red carpet premiere. Liz and I talked about it the last couple of days. Liz actually saw John Cena in the days leading up to him showing up in New York because he was in Boston at Fan Expo, and Liz got a signature of John Cena. He signed a photo of the Peacemaker character poster of him from the first season. Although I don't know if Liz saw John Cena, but she did get a signature. But then, we saw John Cena on the red carpet in New York City. And now that the premiere has happened, the show is literally days away from dropping. August 21st is the premiere, John. So we have reviews. The reviews are looking fantastic. The praise people are singing of this show. Some reviews are saying it's not as good as the first, but John Cena is amazing, while most reviews are pretty damn good. So the first thing we wanted to do, though, before we talk about the reviews, John, is talk about the dance sequence, because one of the most iconic things from season 1 was the whole intro and all the dancing that happens in it. And we know there's a new song in season 2, and with that comes a new dance sequence, new choreography. Your thoughts on this, the Peacemaker season 2 dance sequence, how an extended shoot, some self-inflicted pressure, and a troupe of non-dancers, if you scroll up to the headline again, I can finish reading it, made magic happen again. Your thoughts on this one?
Yeah, I think it's kind of cool. I hope that, they go bigger and better for this. According to James Gunn, Frank Grillo was the worst dancer, but he said Frank Grillo himself said he was the best dancer. So, we'll see.
Well, I don't know. That's not. I wouldn't believe that, because even Frank Grillo would tell you himself. But yeah, and then if you go to the next article, we did get a bit of a breakdown of how they kind of pulled this off. And yeah, like you mentioned, it looks like Frank Grillo might be the worst dancer, which I think it's to be expected, right? It's the new song is "Oh Lord" as opposed to "Do You Want to Taste It?" So, hey, Foxy Shazam, they were at that Comic-Con event with James Gunn and the Peacemaker crew. So I'm excited to see what it actually turns out to be. I'm glad that they haven't given any of this away. They haven't uploaded it online. They haven't, given us even a behind the scenes look at it, really. So hopefully, the anticipation will build, because I'm sure when you click on to Peacemaker season 2 and the first episode, everybody wants to know what that intro is going to look like. So yeah. Is this from who said this? This quote is from
Gunn said this.
This is James Gunn. Okay.
Shout out to Frank Grillo and Tim Meadows and Michael Rooker. So apparently Robert Patrick was the only bad dancer last season. Now they have 3 bad dancers. While Robert Patrick, they even said this in the podcast. He's like, I got better. And James Gunn was like, yes, you did get better. Now we just have, Frank Grillo to fucking deal with, and a couple other people that, can't fucking dance. So that's very
Yep. Yeah, and I'm not surprised that Frank Grillo keeps getting called out. That man, it looks stiff, so I don't know how he's in it. But then again, if you can get Robert Patrick to be a part of it,
to hump the air, then
Yeah, I'm sure Frank Grillo can do something, or maybe a little more than something. But hey, Peacemaker season 2, John, we mentioned earlier, we've got reviews, and as Enterprising was saying, the last he checked, they had 34 reviews, and it was 100% certified.
Well, you are correct. Well, it's 35 now,
reviews. Yeah,
it's still at 100. 35 fresh reviews. Top crit. Obviously, it didn't change because it's still 100, but obviously the audience score is not available yet because it's going to be coming out in less than a week now. 6 days. If you're, not for the next 14 minutes, but
Yeah. Well, yesterday we were talking about it. We were like, it's literally a week away. And now it's less than a week away. And by the time we get to Monday, it will be literally three and a half days away by the time we do the show. So, look, certified fresh for 35 reviews. Usually with movies, you have to, get at least like 50 or so reviews. I don't know how the Rotten Tomatoes formula works, but, it is weighed between how positive the reviews are versus the amount of reviews. And usually with TV shows, they don't have as many because not as many critics review TV shows. But While I wouldn't put 100% stock into the idea that, hey, this 100% Rotten Tomato score makes Peacemaker season 2 the best show ever. The high rating certainly matters, right? Because you talked about Daredevil had a high score in the 90s. I think Miss Marvel had a pretty high score. I'm trying to think. Peacemaker season 1 I think did really well, but 100% is perfect. Like there's no negative reviews here, John. So, and if you go back to the previous article, they point out the same thing, and the reviews are fantastic. Did you have a chance to read any of them? Because, like I said, not every review is calling this show like perfect and the best thing ever, but they are saying like John Cena certainly is a standout, and it
usually
really well.
is.
Yeah. I mean, like, for example, the comicbookmovie.com quoted their own review saying Peacemaker Season 2 feels like a wholly superfluous addition to the new DCU and lacks the stakes and emotion that made Season 1 so special. Fortunately, it's buoyed by some fun surprises for fans and another exceptional turn for John Cena. So almost like it's not a prelude, but
a tease.
No, a prelude is like a pre something, right? But then what comes out, like what comes at the
succeeding?
End? I'm sure there's a word for it. Like I'm just blanking on it right now. But it just feels like this is just a little like overall it's gonna feel like it's tagged on to the end of Superman in terms of like the story, but it seems like by the end of the season we're not going to be getting a whole lot of changes to the bigger picture of the DCU, which is fine.
Conclusion? Do you mean a conclusion?
Well, not so much a conclusion. It's sort of like it's a little bit like it's like a post-credit scene, an extended. It feels like
a postlude, maybe not a prelude, but a postlude.
That sounds wrong.
It does sound wrong.
In so many ways. It sounds wrong in so many ways. Like maybe I think the word I'm looking for is epilogue. It's like an epilogue to Superman. That's probably what it is. There you go. Smacky's here. Hello. Safety says Snyderverse is not coming back. Gunn is on a roll. Supergirl is projected to make more than Spider-Man. I don't think Supergirl is making more than Spider-Man.
No, fucking definitely not. That's not even
because Spider-Man is
you
a
can't see the rotten reviews. Yes, thank you.
It's too early to make any projections. Spider-Man's gonna and basically probably at least double, if not depending on how good it is, it might even triple Supergirl's box office. That's not going to be a competition. Let's be honest. But yeah, epilogue is what I was looking for. Thank you. We got there. We got there eventually.
Oh my God! If Ron is in the chat, hello.
Hey,
Ron.
What's up, Ron? Yeah. That's a pretty good fan casting, Trey. We love your fan castings. Keep on bringing them. We're actually doing a fan casting later in the show. Actually, not this show, but we're going to be doing fan cast Friday. So once this show is done, then come on back for fan cast Friday. Tony saying poster teaser trailer hard to avoid, especially if you come into these streams. Are you talking about spoilers? Because we haven't really given away any spoilers, have we, about Peacemaker? I don't know. But hey, hopefully you guys haven't had anything spoiled for yourselves, because I don't think, well, the show's not out yet unless you hear from some of the critics who have seen the episodes. Trey saying, do you wish that Marvel Studios could do Secret Wars Part 2? I think it's too early to tell. I have no idea what Secret Wars is ultimately going to end up featuring, so I don't really know if we're going to need a Part 2. So you might be like, oh, that was more than enough. So there you go. I think the Watcher is talking about the future of the DCU, and maybe Tony's referring to that in the chat. But hey, reviews are, like I said, John, even the ones that aren't the best, like you can see some of these are really good, like 4 out of 5, 4 out of 5. There's a 5 out of 5 from the Mary Sue. Empire Magazine, we can take a read of that one, 4 out of 5, saying anchored by great work from John Cena, Peacemaker second season raises its already high bar with a well-judged blend of heart. John, you got to go back to the...
I don't know where you're reading from.
It's down there. It's right there. There you go. Top critic, man. Peacemaker second season raises its already high bar with a well-judged blend of heart, madness, and an ass-kicking eagle. So John Cena and eagerly for Amon Warman was the best part. There's another one. Kayla Shunyata from RogerEbert.com saying Peacemaker remains a standout in superhero television. This series doesn't stray away from its humble beginnings, which is good to know. So if you love the first season, then it looks like this one goes back to keeping the formula largely intact. Liz Shannon Miller from Consequence, another top critic, giving it a B. It all works well enough to prove that Gunn is capable of operating within somewhat different tones, even within the same universe, and no matter what the angle, he's prioritizing comic book fun, a true relief. So again, that's kind of the common thread between Peacemaker and Superman. They will both feel very comic booky. Bob Strauss from The Wrap, which we actually usually bring in as a news source quite often, says the gags and gore remain plentiful, but they are not the dominant takeaways this time. Gunn even finds emotional resonance in the multiverse concept, something Marvel, for all its efforts in that dimension, has so far failed to locate. Ouch. That's quite the pot shot that he took at Marvel there, but it's okay. John, again, like I said, the reviews are looking pretty sharp. 100%. Nobody has given it a negative review so far. That's really ultimately what Rotten Tomatoes tells you. They don't tell you that everybody's given it like a 5 out of 5. They just tell you like how many reviews were positive versus negative. And it looks like nobody so far of the 35 critics have given it a negative score. Are you surprised that it's as high a score as it is?
Yeah, but it's only 35 reviews, so it's probably going to get worse as time goes on. But still very interesting.
Yeah, it looks like nobody's mentioning that there's going to be a canon issue, like where people are going to be wondering what part of the show is the DCEU versus the DCU. So that looks like it won't be an issue either, which is great. Great to hear. Tony saying, haha, showed him an Endgame trailer. He's in the movie. Oh, you're talking about the Hulk. All right. I know the chat's going on about the Hulk. We're talking about DC though, John. We're going to be reviewing Peacemaker episode by episode, week by week, much like we're going to be doing the same like you did earlier today for Alien Earth. So are you excited to get started on Peacemaker season 2? I know you watched Peacemaker season 1.
Kind of. I'm still like, I want it to be better. Just get rid of most of the frat boy humor, and then we should be okay.
All right, cool. Well, I'm sure that's not going away because it is still Peacemaker. So, unfortunately, John, I don't know if you're going to be able to, get rid of that. But nonetheless, we'll have to just wait and see, what comes of it. The next thing we got to talk about, hey, let me kind of set the stage here now. So, remember when we all went to see Superman the week that it came out, and then Watcher has seen it like 8 times, or like I think MTG's seen it like 10 times. I've seen it multiple times. John has seen it multiple times. A lot of you have seen it multiple times. Liz has seen it like what did she say yesterday? It was like 4 or 5 times she said, which is kind of crazy. But then again, she saw Endgame like 10 times. So, but hey, the big thing that was coming out of the screenings, everybody was wondering like, oh, whoa, the whole Jor-El twist, which happens about 1/3 of the way into the movie and ends up being pretty core to the rest of the story, especially because the entirety of Superman's arc revolves around the idea that Jor-El and of course Lor-Ran, the parents, the Kryptonian parents of Clark of Kal-El, their values don't quite seem to be as how shall we say it, as positive as human friendly. Like they see human as they seem to be looking down on humans, and of course we get to find out, and the whole world in the movie gets to find out that the Kryptonians maybe weren't, at least from our perspective, not so much good guys. And everybody was like, well, that can't be ultimately how they're going to leave it, right? Like, are Superman's parents, the Kryptonian parents at least, going to be just evil? Like, what's the deal? And so we all have been thinking about how, John, they're going to probably retcon it. We know James Gunn at one point mentioned, he was asked about it, I think it was in the Happy, Sad, Confused podcast, which was his last Superman promotional appearance. And he said, look, if you're thinking about it or looking for a retcon, you might be shit out of luck. But now that the movie is out on digital, and people can actually pause and zoom in and enhance the whole
there
movie.
It is.
They're able to look into details and find Easter eggs they weren't able to do when they were just watching the movie on a movie theater screen. And you just kind of have to just sit there and hope you catch all the little details. One of those details, John, if you want to bring those up, there's an image I think that they show here in this article. Mm-hmm. Somebody found that on one of the TV screens within the movie, they show like Maxwell Lord speaking on camera.
That was like the thing that we can all agree on is that Lex Luthor sucks.
Exactly. And in that part of it, and if you see at the bottom of that in Metropolis Today 8 News, there's a ticker like we have on our show. And in that ticker, enhance, as the Iron Sheik would say, Jabroni enhance, and it reads there, the Daily Planet shows Luthor was behind the false images of Superman's parents' message, claiming that ... We don't see the rest of it here. Do you think that this means James Gunn might have already hidden away a retcon within the movie itself, so therefore, he might just be playing us this whole time, and ultimately Jor-El's story and the idea that Superman's Kryptonian parents were these like evil entities, is that going to get retconned down the road? I mean, I know James Gunn already mentioned that he doesn't even think of the Kryptonians as like evil. They just kind of like look at us, like we're inferior beings, almost like we look
pets.
down on ants or like insects.
As Sarah Douglas would say in Superman 2, like pets.
Yeah, exactly. By the way, C Block is here. Hello, C Block. C Black.
but and we will get to your super chat later, C Black. But this could be one of two things, because I feel like we are entering the space of James Gunn's the Doctor phase of, as we all know, the Doctor always lies. Maybe it's just in this case, James Gunn always lies. Like, you can never trust truly what James Gunn is saying. And like, at least in like a straightforward narrative kind of way. I don't know why I'm sounding like Matt Damon doing an impression of Jack Nicholson, but I think it's either that he lied and it's like, oh, maybe it's falsified, maybe, but I like to think of it as like that's just what the Daily Planet said. Like, maybe Lex Luthor, maybe they found evidence that it was falsified, but it was like not real evidence or something like that, or maybe
they
the engineer claimed it was. But I'm just gonna say, like, I don't think from what James Gunn said, I don't think it's falsified, and I don't think he's gonna retcon that. I don't see him retconning that, and I think it's just like within the narrative, like, of this, it just to give like an easy sort of like all clean, plot threads are tied up nice and evenly. That like, okay, that's why Superman is beloved once again, because it was false, it was not real, because it's like that was kind of a major thread of like, why was that not like directly stated, because that was like a big thread. But here in this like really, really teeny tiny ticker at the bottom of this Metropolis Today banner, that in universe they're saying, oh no, it's just false. Meanwhile, it's most likely just in fact real. And that's why, because if it was like actually fake, then Superman would just keep using the same message of like his birth parents if it's fake, exactly. While he instead uses the footage of his the Kents. So,
and if you go back to the other article, we have the quote from James Gunn when he talked about it. He addressed this because Josh Horowitz asked him about it on the Happy Sad Confused podcast. Are you going to retcon this? Like, a lot of people think that you're going to retcon it, and well, James Gunn basically said if fans are hoping for the retcon, then they're shit out of luck. Those are James Gunn's words. That's the whole point of the movie. The Superman thinks he's doing something because it is his destiny, and his Kryptonian parents have set him out to do this thing. Along the way, he discovers through the love of the people who are actually his parents that he's doing these things not because of someone else, but because of himself. It's like taking accountability in the deepest way possible, that his morality is not based on some figure outside of himself, but on his own choices. I think it's really beautiful in that way, and I'm not going to change that, which makes all the sense in the world. I think for me, thematically, it would make no sense for them to then just retroactively, again, like that's what retcon is. You just change the continuity after the fact, and it would completely nullify the message of the movie. Like you said, John, at the end, he's looking up and he's, now idolizing his Earth parents, the Kents, as opposed to playing back the message of his Kryptonian parents, because it's less about destiny and more about who he is as a person. And then James Gunn also addressed like he said, look, it's not that the Jor-El and Lara are so much as evil. or like ambivalent. He doesn't even he thinks that they just have the mindset that humans are less than what they are. We are sea turtles to them. They're just trying to keep the Kryptonian genes alive, which is actually, to me, that's when it really clicked what James Gunn's perspective was. What do you think?
I still don't like the twist. I know he's giving his reasons. That's fine. I still don't like retroactively just making the Kryptonians evil because reasons. They
didn't retroactively do that here. Like, it's in the movie. Well, actually,
I mean, like, in terms of like 80 years of
translation.
continuity outside of like maybe the John Byrne run, which they did retroactively get rid of because they realized, oh, this is like completely fucking stupid. Let's not have that. So they just made it like, oh no, they weren't actually evil. It was because of this, that, and the other thing that they made it and like appear evil. But I think, I don't think that's true in terms of an out of universe perspective. I think it was real because it's just like, stick with your controversial shit and go with it instead of like pulling a Disney and just making half of like Rise of Skywalker retroactively fucking with your last movie because you didn't like the continuity because you didn't fucking plan for shit. So, that's just, even if it's controversial, even if it sucks, even if nobody likes it, stick with it, because then if you backpedal, you're just seen as a weak coward. So, and nobody wants that.
It's also just bad storytelling, right? And obviously MTG saying, if there's a 1% chance, we have to treat it as an absolute certainty. And yeah, Batman would protect us.
That's totally how percents work.
Become evil or turn evil. By the way, I will always defend that argument from Batman and BVS because he wasn't trying to mathematically make sense. Anyway, John, it's not about the math. We're not talking about Scott Steiner here. We're talking about there's an 1% chance.
We're talking about practice,
because it's the magnitude of the 1% chance what that means. Anyway, sidebar. But I mean, for in terms of like explaining that, if you go back to the image again, in terms of explaining that ticker, it might be that the Daily Planet again is kind of almost like running PR for Superman, just to kind of clean up his image a little bit. Although that wouldn't be very Lois Lane or Clark Kent of as good proper journalists to do. But that's one theory. Again, this is also an Easter egg, so maybe at one point they were gonna retcon it, and then James gonna ultimately change his mind. I don't think he's gonna give that away, at least not anytime soon. So, yeah. But there you go. I mean, James Gunn will keep telling us, and until he says any different, they're not retconning the Jor-El, and well, not just Jor-El, but also Lara Loran, the entire parentage, the Kryptonian parentage of Superman. They're not so much ambivalent as they might be just they just think of us as lesser beings, and that's why that's their perspective. Which is why I think it's going to be really interesting anytime we get to meet actual Kryptonians in the DCU, and they'll probably just talk down to humans, and that will be an interesting interaction. See how Superman does, because even in Man of Steel, clearly, like Zod and his crew look down on Henry Cavill's Kal-El as like a lesser being because of who he was and his, and like he grew up on Earth, and they clearly didn't see humans as equals. So that part of it definitely tracks. So. And like you said, the John Byrne run from the 90s also tracks. And it might be that this is what's the inspiration for it. Enterprising saying Kryptonians realistically would see us no differently than cavemen, so there's plausible expectations. Yeah, exactly. I think it was, and again, it's like Lex Luthor's monkey trolls did blow it out of proportion, which is part of the point of what they were trying to show in the movie. And the message itself, though, did and it's also like an imperfect translation, it seems like.
That could also be the case of it wasn't exactly that's like the vibe of it, but not as harsh as what Lex Luthor, where it's just like sow your royal oats and all that shit. Yeah,
you're not brave, men are brave. There you go. Thank you MTG, all the callbacks. Okay, Zod, you could be a god to them. Actually, is that what Zod said? No, I think that was what Jor-El said in Man of Steel, unless you're making a reference. Anyway, Ron asking an interesting question, John. Who saw Superman in digital today? I haven't yet. I'm still waiting. I've been working all day.
No, I didn't. I'm not fucking renting it for $23 fucking. Nah, fam. I ain't doing that. I ain't paying that much.
No. For that kind of money, you would be buying it. Renting would be cheaper. Like if you
buying was 30, renting was like 23, I think.
Well, it's still.
Well, I mean that makes sense because it's still in theaters, right? So obviously it's still going to cost more because you're probably watching it with other people, unless you're obsessive like we are, where we're watching it alone, which is fine. But it's just like if you want to go see it again for cheaper, go to the theater.
Yep. Yeah. The math is mathing right now. Depending on how.
Jor-El, no. Anyway.
All right, moving on to the next thing, John. Because, well, as far as this whole retcon goes, we'll have to just wait and see what happens down the road. Yeah, MTG is like, I have Max. It will come. That's what she said. James Gunn's Superman is now at the box office. Finally beat Aquaman and Joker.
Hell yeah.
To become the 5th highest grossing DC film of all time domestically, John. What do you think about this? The number that is currently sitting at, the last I checked, was 586.6 million worldwide, of which 335.6 come from the domestic numbers. If we were to kind of like put that on the list, let me see if I can share the rankings right now, because
the numbers. There it is. I was going to bring up the article, but I'm sure you have it on bookmark.
Yeah, it's right here. I keep these open. So
your
it's
computer is just like, let me die.
No, it's fine. It can handle it. But yeah, it's taking more dubs, enterprising, because Superman has now become, like they were talking about in DCU updates, the 5th highest grossing movie at the domestic box office for DC. The only other 2 movies from the DCEU, DC Films, DCU era, the post Dark Knight era, you've got, of course, the Batman with 369.6 million and Wonder Woman with 412.563 million.
But it's a failure, guys. It's a failure. Like I remember I was talking with someone where he was like, it hasn't made as much as the Batman, so it's a failure. I'm like, say that again, but slower. Because it's like, wow, the you're telling me that the guy who's had one of the most successful franchises in comic book adaptation history since 1989, his latest adaptation made more money than a Superman movie who hasn't had a successful Superman movie critically and or financially since 1980. Wow, that's fucking crazy, bro. Like, imagine that. And even then, domestically, it's still fucking, killing it at number 3. But, like, go off, I guess. Like, it's just, like, so silly to, like, how many people are just shitting. It's just, like, if you don't like the movie, that's fine. Nobody has any problem with it. They're like, I don't like how this is done. I don't like the humor. I don't like how David Cornswell acted. I don't like this. I don't like that. That's fine. But, like, then there's the idea of, like, oh, this is a failure. It's like, you're objectively wrong because the stats and the money and the reviews are there to debunk you. The information is out there, but then they'll just claim, oh, it's lying. People are lying because, I can't believe that this movie is successful. It's just like, no, you're just a fucking asshole that just refuses to believe a movie you don't like is successful. So it's just like, sorry.
Yeah, but also, it's look, 335 is really impressive for the domestic numbers.
Yeah, of course it is.
Internationally, it's yes. Ultimately, I feel like we would have all loved to see it get close to the Batman worldwide, but the Batman made 772.5 million, of which half of that pretty much came from the domestic markets, and the other half, a little more than the other half, came from international. Superman, on the other hand, is not even. I don't think it's crossed 300 million. Yeah. 251 million. It's not going to get to 300 million. That's the key. This is why Jurassic World Rebirth has been ahead and will finish ahead. It's crossed 800 million because it's made almost $500 million internationally, literally almost twice as much as Superman has made, and that's been the weakness of Superman. So admittedly, I mean, even at the end of the day, Superman will finish behind Man of Steel. It's not going to make as much money as Man of Steel, but not by as big of a margin as you might expect. And we've talked about how the box office landscape has changed so much in the 12 years since Man of Steel came out. And then as far as addressing there's four movies that are above Superman in the all-time rankings. So for DC, that is, because we have the Batman with 369 million, we have Wonder Woman with 412 million, and then if you go back to the Dark Knight trilogy from back in the day, there's two Dark Knight movies. The Dark Knight with 536 million, which is the biggest gross at the domestic box office for a DC movie. And then the second highest is The Dark Knight Rises with 448 million, after which we can get back to talking about, of course, we had Wonder Woman with 412, and then The Batman with 369, and now Superman with 335. So, I mean, it's no small feat, though. Like, Joker made $1 billion, Aquaman made $1 billion. So there's been other movies out there from DC that have done billion-dollar business when they have reached that kind of a number domestically. Unfortunately for Superman internationally, it's not panned out the same, but it is still a success. We've done the math before, John. The math is simple. $225 million
mathing, guys.
On the budget, $125 million marketing budget. They needed to hit around $525 million to break even. They have now got to 586.6. I know we're hoping this is going to get to 600 million. So that's the goal, I think. And even if it's out on digital now, I think there's still plenty of people who will go see it in movie theaters because it is still playing in a lot of movie theaters. So
it's probably going to still be playing until it hits
September.
Physical.
Yeah, probably until September 23rd at least, right? Like when it comes out on Blu-ray. And
hell, it even might go past that. Like it might go out back until like the end of September. So, you know, it's still going to be in theaters, you know, it's
and like Angelica's saying here, like 589 million. And by the way, hello, Angelica. For the first DCU movie to make that kind of money, that is quite significant because when you go back and compare it to like the MCU, here we go. Look at the numbers from the MCU. Now, the first movie in the MCU was Iron Man, all the way back in 2008. Now, again, different time, so it's a little bit of apples and oranges. But Iron Man did 318 domestic, and it made 584.9 million if you want to round it up. Now, of course, Man of Steel did more than that, and we know Superman has basically hit the same range. But like you've talked about, from 2008 up to 2013, the landscape had changed. Like, it's like we went through a period in the 2010s where superhero movies were in their heyday, and so now we're getting back to a period like where Iron Man came out, where not every superhero movie is going to be a guaranteed $1 billion. Exactly. We talked about people in the business, like an agent who's got many actors in their stable who work in the MCU. Actually, he or she or they were saying 800 million is the next is the new $1 billion. So most of these movies, I mean, Marvel movies are not making $1 billion. Like Superman is now, we can basically confirm it at this point. We've talked about it weeks ago. Superman is, for the first time in 17 years, going to be the highest grossing DC movie as representing the superhero genre in the calendar year. That has not happened since 2008 when The Dark Knight was the highest grossing superhero movie of the year. So since 2008, 17 years ago, DC has finally won the battle with Marvel at the box office by basically having their movie be at the top of the pile for once in a calendar year, as opposed to Marvel, where the MCU has dominated. You could see these movies on the screen right here. So, John, that is quite impressive, and it's not a bad place to start. Not a bad place to start. Anything you care to add to that?
No, not at all.
MTG going for the adjusted for inflation. Look, here's the reason why we don't talk about adjusted for inflation. We've talked about it before. There's a million different reasons why those comparisons are unfair, because the economy is different, tickets cost more. Obviously, the money itself, that's what the adjusted for inflation refers to. But there's a million other things. Like they only had like Netflix and maybe a version of Hulu back in Man of Steel days. Now you have like 20 streaming services. Movies don't play in movie theaters as long. I think I'm pretty sure Man of Steel played exclusively in theaters for a lot longer than Superman did.
I would say at least 90 days. That was the reasons. Base. That was the control.
I mean, there was nobody was waiting for Man of Steel to show up on HBO Max, right? Like, whereas I think one of you guys in the chat was saying, I'm just going to wait till it comes on HBO Max.
Plus, remember, DC is a damaged brand. Like, that was the whole thing. Like, DCU did a lot of damage to the DC brand. And towards the end, you had stuff that were profitable, but stuff that was barely profitable, like Black Adam or Birds of Prey, yeah, technically it's profitable, but it was like just by the fucking skin of its teeth. And even then, like the entire year of 2023 and 2024, DC had nothing but bombs. So they haven't had a truly profitable movie since like 2022. So it was like, all right, let's see how this goes. And it exists as like, that's why I was like, I don't think this is going to get $1 billion. We had higher hopes for the international audience, but obviously that is not the case. But it, you know, it's just the idea of like, it was to bring goodwill back, like kind of like what Thunderbolts and Fantastic Four are kind of doing with their higher critical reviews than their box office.
Which
and
is all
that's
relative. It's like 3 points. What was it? No, 3 points. 86% versus 83%. That's yeah, you're splitting hairs at that point. But I mean, here's what I will say though. Angelica's waiting for the Blu-ray. The Watchers already pre-ordered theirs. And you guys can pre-order it now, like the Blu-ray or the Steelbook, whichever version you want, September 23rd. It's not that far away. So definitely go and get yourself a copy or pre-order it so that it gets in the mail as fast as it possibly can once it's time. What I will say is Superman at this point, I think, is still probably a guarantee. No, you know what? Yes, it is a guarantee to hit 600 million because you look at the daily breakdowns. Yeah, because now it's available on digital and people are expecting it, it's finally starting to make less than $1 million a day. But, the weekend is coming up. And this past weekend, it still almost made $10 million. So I would not be surprised if it makes at least 5 to 6 million this weekend. And then it's going to keep playing in theaters for another few weeks. Like you said, John, at least. You do the math on that, it's going to get to a 600 million, which is not a bad place to be at all for the first movie in the franchise. And like Ron is saying, it's overachieved with critical and financial success. And that's really all we could have hoped for, right? Like we did not expect this movie. I mean, yes, some of us were calling for $1 billion in here and all that, but like we have seen now, even with Fantastic Four, hitting $1 billion is not as easy as it used to be for all the reasons we have talked about a million times before. So I think 600 million is a great place to start. This means that if whatever movie James Gunn is working on next, if it is as good, if not better, featuring Superman, that movie has a higher ceiling now because of this movie. As does Supergirl, as does Clayface. Not saying that those movies will make more than 600 million. They will make more than what they would have made because people will have all the positive momentum behind it. And when you add in the fact that Peacemaker so far is getting a great reception, and then of course, the Lantern series is on the way. All of that hopefully is going to add up to a great streak for DC. So far, things are looking good between Creature Commando, Superman, Peacemaker, John. Yeah, I think we're in a pretty good spot. So with that, well, that's all the news that we had for you today. However, since it is a Friday show, like I mentioned, we will be getting into Fancast Friday after this show. But before we finish up, John, we have a couple of questions from
oh, we do. Oh my goodness, I apologize. I'm already jumping the gun.
We got to get into some of your comments as we do every Friday. John, I know you pulled them together, so why don't you bring them on screen and then we'll talk about it. We've got a few comments that you guys left us during the week, and then we want to highlight the following that John has picked out.
We do have some people in the chat who have their comments featured, but first it's from Kyle. Kyle's been in the chat for a bit. I don't know if he's still here, but if you're there, Kyle, we'd love to see you, give a little hello that you're still alive out there. But Kyle was saying, I think this was for our tier list or fan casting Friday. I think this was for Fancast Friday. I really feel like we will be getting a Justice League International tease in Peacemaker with Maxwell Lord. That's entirely possible that maybe he wants to rebrand the Justice Gang as, Justice League International. And then maybe down the line, Maxwell Lord, sells it or just doesn't copyright the name or something. And then it becomes the real Justice League rather than the PR stunt of, Maxwell Lord trying to get a one-up on everything. So I would like to say, we have been doing Justice League International Fancast for a while. The people were like, why are you doing Fancast for this? I'm like, well, they were on Justice League International, so that's why we're doing them. So but yeah, Very nice comment, Kyle. Thank you for the wonderful comment.
Yeah. One quick one from the Watcher I wanted to mention. I have not seen the Superboy thing. I think James Gunn was doing a Q&A recently on Threads and stuff, and he responded to a bunch of questions. I might have seen him refer. I don't think he directly referred to Superboy, but I don't think he ruled out the idea. I just don't know if we're going to be getting a Superboy anytime soon. So we'll look into it, and if it's anything substantial, Watcher, we'll talk about it next time. But hey, Frankie G lowered their prediction to 750. Still way off. That's okay though. I mean, 700 million, 750, 600 million is still pretty good. I will take it.
But yeah. Anyway, next up we have Tony Randall, who's definitely in the chat. First time he met Liz on Wednesday, and he said it was great to meet Liz. Amazing collection of autographs, and thank you for sharing. So yes, if Liz were here, I think she would be happy about your compliment. Mm-hmm. So, but yes, Liz does have her giant collection.
Oh, it's true.
Of autographs.
Tony practically proposed to Liz like 5 times during that episode because he was so just, in love with the idea that Liz has an entire album of celebrity autographs and lives the life of being at like 4 Comic-Cons.
I do have to get my Kehu Kwan one from my friend because he got it for me when I wasn't available to go to the Terrific Con. So
see, there you go. Tony's admitting to it. Yeah, and MTG is providing the ring. So yeah.
But yeah, very lovely to see. But the next comment, not really a question, but Nelson Moreno, who I think is in the chat, they recommended here. Although Dan already said to this, like, hey, only if the poll does okay, but they're recommending the tier list for each MCU phase, make it a weekly thing. Well, tier list Tuesday is a weekly thing because it's every Tuesday, so weekly.
Well, I think they meant more like make the phases like we do phase 1, phase 2, phase 3, phase 4.
Yeah, no, I know.
Which but
that would be fun if people liked it. I mean, we did that for the poll for this week and it wasn't picked. James Gunn movies were picked instead. So I think that would be nice to see, but only if people agree to it. Damn, our viewer count's huge right now. But anyway, we do have one more from Black.
We do have some super chats we're gonna get into at the end as well,
and super chats too. But I meant like the final of comments left on videos after they go live. But BlackRock 316, they were talking about Fantastic Four. I think the issue with Fantastic Four is that we didn't see this coming. I was planning on seeing the movie in theaters, but I changed my mind. I'm not a huge Fantastic Four fan, plus the trailers weren't that good to me. I asked one of my friends that have kids if they were going to watch Fantastic Four. He's going to wait for it on Disney Plus. The trailers didn't interest him to check it out in theaters. So yeah, I think it's just of the matter of I agree. The trailers were not even that last trailer. It had some good.
Some of their best trailers came towards the end, but even then they weren't the most impressive, right?
Like, yeah, they were not that amazing, and it's unfortunate that even though I didn't love it as much as everyone else did, I think it's a decent effort. I think it just got fucking absolutely obliterated and murdered in cold blood in the editing room. That is what killed the movie for me. That editing was that's some of the worst editing in a movie I've seen since like the haphazard cut every moment, shaky cam, Hunger Games type crap where it's just like it's like it was bad, and that's a shame because I feel like if they just let Lying Dogs Lie and just have it be like 2 hours, 15 minutes, it would have been a much better movie. I'm not saying you had to have John Malkovich in there or anything, but just like give us some character development, give us some arcs, give us something. I think, and there was next to nothing. So that was like, all right, I don't really care.
Character development. Like, I mean, look, they had character development in the movie. I don't think it was a matter of like there weren't character arcs or anything. It did feel like they condensed it down to the bare minimum in a lot of ways. And there were times when I wish the movie breathed a little more. I personally don't think, by the way, just addressing the watchers, I don't know if there was a lack of action. I think it was more this movie just like
I don't think it needed more action.
Like it wasn't a very rewatchable movie. Like they made the 60s feel really dark and dreary, even though it's not meant to be our 60s. We were kind of used to seeing the 60s be this colorful time, although in real life there was a lot going on in the world. But And to Angelica's point, though, on the box office side, given how fast is dropping, like it's not even at 450 million. Like, look at it. It's gonna probably start to make less than $1 million a day this upcoming week, which is gonna be a full week, ahead of when Superman got to that level point. So, I mean, can it get to 500 million? I think it's gonna need to depend on the international box office to do that. And there's just more and more movies coming out every week.
I think
so
it'll
I
get
don't
there.
know.
I think it'll maybe get like 550. Maybe at the most. I mean, I'm trying to be nice here. Like, I could see it getting maybe 550.
No, I think it's I think the movie's ceiling at this point is 490, 500. Like, that's based on the box office projections. 550 is really optimistic because it's only going down.
Hey,
yeah.
What does Superman say? Have hope. I want to see Fantastic Four do well. Like they deserve it after so long of shitty adaptations. They deserve it.
I thought it was a good movie overall. I enjoyed it. I just don't think it's as rewatchable as Superman, which a lot of you guys agree with. So there you go. But yeah, I mean, thanks guys for all the questions. We have a few more, right? And we still have the super chats to get through.
Well, we have the super chats now. So the first one that we have was thoughts on Steve Rogers causing incursions going back in time to Peggy Carter at the end of Endgame. Rumor this is one of the plots for Doomsday. Now, what are the incursions? Like, what would the incursions be? Like,
so incursions are where basically, as a result of you messing with timelines, your two universes sort of start going down a path where they will collide. I don't know how that works in the higher dimension, whatever dimension that might be. And then eventually, like, both universes will die. So unless you do something about it.
Can you make it double digits, Watcher? Let's see. Can you make it double digits?
MTG's seen it 10 times. So
got to pump those numbers up. Those are rookie numbers in this racket. Anyway.
By the way, to address Ron, I don't think it's a guarantee that Brave and the Bold is going to make $1 billion. You got to remember, the Batman was as good as any Batman movie has ever been. And even that didn't get to 800 million. Granted, it was the first one. I will say it can make 800 million plus. I wouldn't guarantee $1 billion yet. But anyway, John, you were saying.
But yeah, I mean, a lot of these rumors come from Scooper, so it's probably not true. Probably bullshit. I don't think this is true. I mean, if it is, that's very dumb, but
so C Black was saying thoughts on Steve Rogers causing incursions going back to Peggy Carter at the Endgame or in Avengers Endgame. The rumor is that this is one of the plots or subplots in Avengers Doomsday. Now, here's the thing. Liz and I talked about this yesterday. Liz didn't want to really spend too much time on it because she doesn't want to have any potential spoilers for her. This was also, I think this was coming from My Time to Shine. I forget if it was Jeff Snyder or My Time to Shine. But essentially the idea being that, when Captain America goes back in time to return all the Infinity Stones, and also obviously the Thor's hammer Mjolnir, after he does that, he goes and creates an extra timeline, which is not one of those timelines that is pruned by the TVA, where he goes and enjoys a life with Peggy Carter. Because otherwise, like, because they made it clear in the movie that you can't go back in the same timeline, right? Like that's not, if you go back to the past, your past becomes your future, and it's no longer your past. That's not how, the whole Bruce Banner thing. Like, why can't we just go back in time and like the whole War Machine thing? So clearly, I mean, again, the Russo brothers didn't do a great job of explaining the time travel logic because they kind of contradicted themselves in the movie several times. But at the very least, I think how this is meant to work is anytime you travel to the past, you're going to a different timeline, not the one you lived through yourself. So therefore, when Steve Rogers stayed in the past, the theory is he stayed in a different alternate reality with Peggy Carter. And then I guess he jumps back into our timeline in the present day as the old man Rogers and gives the shield to Anthony Mackie.
The mental gymnastics you have to do for the time
I'm
travel
just saying,
bullshit.
That's the theory, right? That's the theory, and that's the theory that stipulates that all those different timelines that were created, or at least that one timeline that was created with Peggy Carter, was the one that is part of the incursion with R616 Earth. So, and I guess Doom is involved with that somehow. Maybe he's from the other timeline that is now, on that collision course. So all of that leads us into basically how Chris Evans' Captain America is going to figure into the movie, and why Robert Downey Jr.'s Dr. Doom wants, Chris Evans, Steve Rogers dead. That's what it is. But to answer your question, I don't know, C Black. That's like John said, there's a lot of mental gymnastics you have to get. Like, I literally have to take 5 minutes to explain the logic. I don't think most people are gonna care to like think about it for that long. So I don't know if that's gonna be
I will say I did want to, but once again, thank you, C Black, for the super chat.
Thank
And
you
of
so much.
course, thank you for giving me some of the money that you are definitely going to owe me, because Spider-Man 4 won't make $1 billion.
Yeah, that bet is still on, right? So there you go.
Yep. So then
There you go.
Enterprising with a $2 super chat. You think with all these universes we get Power Girl? I hope so. Power Girl would be great. Alice Eve or Sydney Sweeney would be very nice.
You know what? That could be that we have actually haven't we done a Power Girl fan casting? I feel like
I don't think we have.
We've talked about it enough that I feel like we didn't we? No, or am I wrong about that? I'm trying to figure. I'm trying to look through our archives for the show right now. I know we have discussed Power Girl on many an occasion because I think we were speculating what version of Supergirl are we going to get in the DCU, and clearly we're getting Kara Danvers iteration. But yeah, I wouldn't mind seeing a Power Girl. I just don't think if you ask James Gunn, he'd be. Here's the thing: what I'm starting to realize with James Gunn is he's somebody who, like most, I mean, he's more candid about it because like somebody like a Kevin Feige would basically just say, "Oh, anything could happen, and you never know." And when James Gunn is asked about something like, "Oh, will we see a Superboy or will we see a Power Girl?" He's like, "Oh, we'll see." I haven't thought, and sometimes you literally admit, like, I haven't thought that far ahead. Like when he's telling us he doesn't know what Batman's costume is going to be like, is because he literally hasn't had enough time to put any thought into it. He's not worried about it right now. It might be just a bit of overthinking. But yeah, ultimately, I think we're probably a little ways away from any kind of Power Girl situation. For all we know, we might get her in the next Superman related movie James Gunn is writing, but I would not count on it just yet, John. I don't know your take on it, but I feel like
I don't think so either. I don't think we're going to get it anytime soon, because I don't think he wants to focus a lot on multiverse stuff outside of the canonicity between like Peacemaker and that kind of thing. But outside of that, I don't think we're going to getting into too multiverse stuff, and Power Girl is heavily like brings about the multiverse stuff. So yeah I don't think we're.
I think Pocket Dimensions. Yeah, the Pocket Dimensions.
Most will get like an Elseworld story, but even then, that's pushing it.
Yeah. Plus, I don't know if there's like such a demand for it. Comic book fans know who Power Girl is. The average, moviegoer has no idea who Power Girl is. I'm sure if they went with the comic accurate costume and look, then yes, there will be a lot of people going to see it. But I don't think that's going to be enough for them to like greenlight a whole movie. And then I just wanted to bring up Steven's question, not a super chat, but thank you for the comments saying, "Did you see the lineup panel for New York Comic Con? It looks interesting. You might go." I have not seen it yet. I know Liz probably has. Liz is going to New York Comic Con, so we'll get her take on it next week when she's on the show. John, I know you haven't been to the New York Comic Con before, but James Gunn was there.
No, I have been to New York Comic Con.
But you have. So do you think you'd want to go again? I mean, James Gunn has been there last year. He did a whole Q&A session, and it looks like we might be getting more Supergirl stuff this year. Would you be interested in going to see if you can get in on one of those panels?
Probably not. It's just like it's a lot. Like I went to New York Comic Con once as sort of like a bucket list thing. I went to New York Comic Con, but it's too mainstream. It's just too much. It's just a lot, and it's just like I'm okay.
Yeah, that's one of the iterations of Power Girl's costumes, Angelica. But no, that's fair, John. I mean, Liz also was saying that she goes there, but she doesn't like sign up for all the big panels because it's like a lottery system. She'd rather know what she's going to be doing every day and get all her autographs and photo ops before she puts her name in a hat and gets randomly chosen or not chosen, because then she would have to like figure out what she's going to do with all her time, or her sessions are going to get disrupted, whether she's trying to get an autograph or meet somebody for a photo op, a celebrity. Then she will have to be like, oh well, I can't do that now because I have to go be at this panel. So and Manos Time is here. Hello, Manos Time, joining in late. Be kind and rewind. We have got a lot of show that you missed, but hey, you can always hit the rewind button. And we're not quite done yet as far as the programming tonight on the channel, because John, I think this is it for the Q&A session. and that will bring to close the DCU Daily part of the night. But right after we go off the air, give us a few minutes. We'll go grab a drink. Maybe you can do the same. And then we'll be back to talk about, the upcoming potential director options for the DCU Justice League movie whenever eventually it does happen. You guys voted for it. In fact, before we finish, I just wanted to kind of highlight so that, in case anybody's wondering, like, did we just like go off of, something that where we just picked out the choice of vote or the choice of topic. We put it up on the community section of the channel. So you guys can go into the community section, look at the post. And as of, literally a few seconds ago when I refreshed the page, far and away, always the bridesmaid, never the bride. Brainiac is in number 2 again. But DCU Justice League director is what you guys chose. So that's what we're going to be fan casting right after the show. And then if you guys also want, you can go in and you can vote on next Tier List Tuesday episode's topic. So far, Batman movies seem to be winning out. Which
I can't wait to be murdered in my sleep for that one.
Is giving John all the thrills and maybe a lot more chills. But hey, you know what? Maybe MCU Phase 1 movies will make a comeback. 17%. It's got a ways to go to catch up to Batman movies, but I don't know. I just put in Spike Lee movies simply because Highest to Lowest comes out this weekend, so that's pretty random. But yeah, hey, maybe for fan casting though, maybe we can do Power Goal as one of the options for the next poll. So you guys let us know in the comments down below, what would you like to see at the next episode of Fancast Friday, the one coming up after this show. We are going to be fan casting the director for the next DCU Justice League film. That's your pick. And with that, Steven, we'll be back with you in a few minutes, and so make sure to join us there, Tony and everybody else. Manos time, make sure to hop across. Watcher, Angelica, and anybody and everybody enterprising, Frankie, all of y'all, make sure to switch over. It's gonna take us a few minutes, but then you'll see a link pop up on the channel, and we'll see you there for Fancast Friday. Those of you guys on the East Coast, it's a late Friday, early Saturday, but hey, until then, 1A that like button, and we will see you after this short intermission. John, thank you for running the show while I was trying to get my
having
stuff
technical difficulties, but that's okay.
Yeah, but that's all right. You know what? Until we are back with you guys in a few minutes, 1A. Hit subscribe if you're new. Hit the notification bell so that way you know when we go live at Fancast Fridays in a few minutes, and we'll see you there. And until then, as James Gunn and Superman would tell you, don't forget to look up. Or if Supergirl will tell you, look.
It's another project that's been blessed from the beginning.
There's the shot right there. That.
Okay, we don't need to see.
Right there.
Hey, buddy, eyes up here.
Now you want to get nuts?
Let's get nuts.
Here we go.
Victory mine. Ask me how am I doing? I'm telling you, really, I'm doing sublime. I never wait in a stewardess line. I just go do it. I'm moving my time. Really had nothing to do with it. How am I moving? I'm moving like you want to shine. Follow my lead. Don't listen to lies. I had to put me all on the line. That's why I know that victory's mine.
I prefer Jared Leto. Hunka hunka!
Fuck Jeff Snyder.